Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, and it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Doesn't My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vickey.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met through our training and practice of relational life therapy. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. If something you hear in this episode stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com and leave us a question of your own. Here's today's question.
Why doesn't my partner want to work on our relationship?
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
That's just like one option. I'm just like low-hanging fruit option.
And this episode's done.
because it's
There you go.
hard.
That was short and sweet.
That really was a pretty powerful answer, though. Like, kind of, it is hard.
I think there's more to it.
There is.
There is.
I mean, like, yes, it is hard.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know how. Right? Like to do hard things, there's a energetic cost. And
Yeah.
there's a risk, there's a vulnerability.
Yeah.
And if I don't know how to manage like myself in the process of expending that energy and producing that vulnerability so that I can try to meet you in this place of doing hard things, then this whole thing is just scary. And I'm going to go into shutdowns. And we all know, because we just did a whole mini series on shutdowns, what happens in shutdowns.
And you mentioned the vulnerability. What if I work on it and it still doesn't work?
Right.
Totally. What if I
That's
work
scary.
really, really hard and then I'm still not happy with our relationship?
And I'm still not happy.
What if working on our relationship means I have to look at parts of me when I'm really comfortable looking at what's wrong about you?
Because that is the thing. If you're really going to work on your relationship, U-turns are required. So it may be that you're with someone who does not want to U-turn. And by the way, I ask whoever's asking the question this as well. How are you doing with your U-turns? Or is the focus mostly on hoping that we get my partner to come in and do something else, which means your focus is not on a U-turn. Your focus is actually on the other person, right?
You know, it really is amazing to me. And we've talked about this a lot, how the more you start doing it, be it the U-turns, the observations, the whole thing, almost the easier it gets to do it. This weekend, there was some family drama going on with us as parents and my son and my mother-in-law. And I could see what I bring up for Gabe from issues with his mom, but I could see it. And I went to him and said it like, oh, do I do this too? And what I first suggested, he actually said no, but then he added something different. He was like, no, but when you do this, it does. And I think that months or years ago, that would have been hard to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't hard to hear. It was like curiosity inducing, and it was, and I was like, oh, I can see that.
You
I can
have been practicing.
I have been practicing. Well, I mean, for real, talking about this stuff all the time with you guys and doing a podcast, like we are immersed in this.
We are immersed in this just all the time.
All the time.
Can I just slow us down for a minute? Because Vicky, there was just a phrase you used that I want to blow up.
Oh, sure.
It was curiosity inducing.
Yeah.
Like that's not a phrase that I've heard very often. And it's one I'm loving the heck out of right now. Right? Like think about that. If we're inside of relationships that are curiosity inducing, right? That's like a whole different kind of seduction.
You know what I want to like point out? This piece is so important though. Vicky, your state in listening to that feedback was part of the induction of curiosity. It wasn't that he said it different all of a sudden.
Oh no, correct.
It wasn't that he was giving you gentle feedback or something that wasn't hard to hear.
Right.
It was so curiosity inducing is not just dependent on the partner.
Right.
Oh, right.
It's dependent on both of you.
Yeah.
And the internal state of the listener, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That I could hear it without getting defensive. So like, I mean, keep in mind what I said. I suggested something and he said, no, that's not it. It's this. And right then it could have been like, no, I don't think so. It's what I said first. I mean, it could have gone in a very different direction, but I was already in the connected brain space of a healthy conversation of like, I'm kicking something up for you. What is my role in it? And so when he was able to volunteer, oh yeah, no, it's not when you do that. It's when you do that. And then that's when I was able to get curious because and I could see it. Yeah. Like it just, the behaviors don't totally line up. Like I don't do exactly what his mom did, but the like energy behind it does. And I could sit in that with him in that moment. And for me, it was with a U-turn. It was, I don't think I verbalized this, but it was, I want to start trying to not do that. I'd like to, and it's when I didn't realize I used withdrawal, by the way, with the 5 losing strategies. That's one of mine. Like when I realized that we're both not connected and going round and around on a topic and neither of us is going to budge and I should just take a time out, I will instead say something like, we don't need to keep talking about this. That shutdown doesn't go well with him. I mean, shocker. But so that's what he pointed out. He was like, no, when you do this, he was like, you can't just shut down the conversation with me. And I thought, you know what? You're right.
You can ask to take a break.
We're not leaving you take time out. Right.
Yeah. We're not saying that means you have to stick in until 3 a.m. What we're saying is if you're,
please don't.
God, don't do that.
Stick it out.
Please stop. Please do that.
I've had those couples. Don't do it. But I need to say, I'm going to take a time out. And then actually do it. Cause you guys know, I also have a history of saying I'm going to take a time out and then
sticking in there
and then staying. And
shoot a couple across the bow on your way out the door.
I'm like, I said time out 3 times. How are we still here? Oh, cause I didn't walk away. That's why. So walk away. When you take a time out, actually do it. I remind my couples of that. I need to take it when I see the pattern, I can see it. We're both debating a fact. An opinion, probably, because a fact is a fact. I get it. Like there's a tall building and neither of us is going to budge.
Depends.
Why
on what
would
tall
you?
Means.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Are we talking about from my vantage point? I'm 5'2", or yours, Jules?
Because what tall means to me, I am 6 feet tall. What tall means to me is very different.
Yeah. So facts are not. You guys are killing me. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't even say. No. I can't say that because yes, they are.
I think that gravity is real.
Thank you.
I'm in agreement with you. That's part of my shared reality. Gravity is real in my world.
And now I have the giggles. I'm gone.
Okay. I'm gonna bring us back. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say this question again is why doesn't my partner want to work on our relationship? I think there's another layer in here too. And Jules, you were talking about, are you the person asking this question? Are you doing the U-turn?
Mhm.
And I think that is so important because this question could be used as a finger pointing, right? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
if my partner's not doing the work, my partner's not doing the work. And if we're not coming back to like, okay, well, what are you doing? Because if we put the focus back on you, if you don't worry about what your partner's doing in the relationship and you just work on your part of the work in the relationship, it's going to instigate some kind of change. It can't not.
For good or for bad.
Well, think about it like a bicycle, right? So if you turn the direction of one of the wheels, the other wheel is going to be moved with it, right? No matter what else happens.
Yeah, it's a system.
Yeah.
And by the way, I didn't mean for good or for bad. I want to really change that because that's a judgment. So what I meant was, as you make the changes, a man called in, she is going to change automatically like the bicycle, whether that improves the marriage or doesn't. Like his changes may, I don't know what the word is for not improves, but may cause further withdrawal or cause further something. So I don't want the judgment of good or bad, but it will shift something. It just may not shift the improvement.
You know what else I'm thinking though? It's just why a brain changes. Like, why do we change? Why do we move into learning space?
Stress.
Okay. So you have to have enough safety and you have to have enough stress. You have to have both. It's actually a combo, right? So if you have stress with no safety, what you're going to do is move into defenses. You're going to move into your protective system, your adaptive child. You're going to, right? If you have, if you don't have safety on board, but you add a ton of stress, you're just going to be in defensive mode. If you have enough safety, even misery stabilized safety, but not enough stress, there's no reason to change. So it may be you're dealing with a partner who doesn't have the right combo.
And so here's what I'm thinking as you're talking about this. I'm thinking if I'm the partner who's like, why is my partner not working on our relationship? Because I've totally been there. Right? I've totally been there. There was a time we were going to therapy and I was like, I'm totally going to outgrow him. I'm deep immersed in this and I'm going to outgrow him. By the way, there's no chance of that. And that's awesome. But if I'm that partner who's asking, why does my partner not want to work on this relationship? And I stop pointing my finger at why does my partner not want to do this? And I take a look at what could I do for this relationship? What did I just create? Safety. It is now safer for my partner to put in some work.
Yeah.
And if things in our relationship are uncomfortable enough, that's going to be the stress.
Right. Or it could be that there's so much safety because you're really good at placating. Maybe you're a people pleaser and you're great at managing other people's feelings and you're great at making it harder on you than it is on them. In which case,
that's interesting.
You may not be adding enough stress.
Well, in which case,
you're the only one who's unhappy here.
In which case, my relational work would be speaking up for what I want and need.
That's right. Exactly.
Right? Like I actually then have to create the stress.
That's right.
I have to rock the boat.
I have to rock the boat. Exactly. So it may be that your partner's going along thinking things are okay because you're kind of pretending things are okay. Only on the inside, you're on fire, or on the inside, you're in a really lonely cave. Only they have no idea. So it could be adding the stress is really helpful. But know this, if you're asking somebody to show up and work on the relationship, here's what we're asking for, is we're asking for increased accountability, increased vulnerability, increased empathy for both people. So don't ask for it unless you're willing to give it. And know this. If they say no to that, they're saying no to accountability and to vulnerability and to empathy, but it has nothing to do with whether you're worthy of love, sweetie.
Thank you. That's beautiful, Jules. Because that is the interpretation that most of us would get from that.
Of course it is, because we want to make sense of it and we don't want to feel like we're out of control and that we can't, if I face that my partner's rejection of me may not be totally about me, then how do I keep someone? Well, you don't. It's a risk to fall in love, man. That's a hard one. It's a hard one, but I promise. They may not want to love you, but that has nothing to do with your worthiness of love.
I just want to throw in one more little addendum here before we close out this episode. And that's when we're asking the question, why doesn't my partner want to work on our relationship? Mm-hmm. Are we really seeing it clearly? Mm-hmm. Are we really seeing that our partner doesn't want to work on the relationship? Are there ways that maybe they are invested and are working?
Oh my God, that's genius. Yes. So they may be working, just not in a way we're catching.
Yeah. Right. And I want to make space for that because that feels really important too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes it does not look like how I would like it to look. That does not mean it's not happening.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome to my marriage. I love
do not get to control my partner.
Right. Well said.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Stay protected and connected.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at our boot camp. You'll find the next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you could ask us your question?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.